Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Reincarnated as a demonic dragon, I formed a pact with a beautiful female lord. Chapter 31. So, you are Lord Lufus. Jr., I am sorry. This match is getting too long. I can't play with you any longer. Shu Yuan gritted her teeth in anger. She had worked so hard to reach here, but to Long Quan, this was just a silly game. She was just a plaything. After Long Quan spoke, his minions, the Earth Dragon and Sky Dragon, launched successive attacks. They immediately dispersed the Skeleton Knights and the Dark Goblins easily. Shu Yuan opened his eyes and raised his head drowsily. Lin Yao, Shi Linglong, Zhao Qingrong, and their heroes were gathered outside the ring at this point, anxiously observing the match. Shi Linglong and Zhao Qingrong were both looking at the Earth Dragon and Sub-Dragon army. Meanwhile, Lin Yao's eyes were focused on Shu Yuan. Is Wanwan's initial hero finally going to make a move? The Flower Fairy and the Elf Archer were different. They did not know much about Shu Yuan. But Lin Yao's Ice Phoenix, Bing Yao, was an SS-class hero. She had hinted at Shu Yuan's status. Su Wan's initial hero was definitely not as harmless as he seemed. Lin Yao stared at Shu Yuan. Shu Yuan woke up and wagged his tail slowly. The blue flame at the tip of the tail flickered. Activate Lord of Darkness. When the ability was activated, the whole arena filled with black mist. The defeated and dead Skeleton Knights reformed again. The bones that had fallen apart fused together. They were resurrected. The Skeleton Knights, Dark Goblins, and other troops resurrected on the spot. What's happening? Shu Yuan, how did you do that? The dead have the ability to resurrect infinitely. It was hard to relate any of this with Shu Yuan, who was still curled up in his soft nest. However, Lin Yao had been watching intently and she was a bit certain about what had happened. Is this her hero's ability? Other than the golden behemoths, can all the dark-type creatures resurrect infinitely? Nobody else was aware of the limitations on resurrection. Long Quan just saw the dead Skeleton Knights and others on the battlefield being revived on the spot. This might turn out to be difficult, thought Long Quan, getting a little angry. He had assumed that he would be able to easily overcome his opponent, but he had not anticipated that she would possess such a skill. Long Quan's forces were diminishing as time went on, but Su Wan's forces had been revived and were still strong in their numbers. I can't drag this on any longer, decided Long Quan. In the end, Long Quan had no choice but to let the Golden Dragon take action. Allowing the Golden Dragon to deal with these troops in front of him was a waste of talent. But if this dragged on, who knew what kind of outcome it would beget? Don't worry, just leave it to me. The Golden Dragon opened its mouth, and a scorching flame gathered in its mouth. The Golden Dragon suddenly let out a mouthful of fire. Dragon's breath. The arena was hit by the scorching dragon's breath. The rest of the troops, including the Skeleton Knights, were drowned in the dragon's breath and instantly burned to death. By the power of the Lord of Darkness, they were resurrected, but as soon as they died yet again. In the face of absolute power, all struggles are futile. The Golden Dragon said softly. Shu Yuan instinctively retreated a few paces in response to the Golden Dragon's pressure. Suddenly, Shu Yuan bumped into something. She realized that she had reached Shu Yuan's side in a hurry to get away. Shu Yuan raised his head and looked at her. Shu Yuan, do you still want to fight until the last moment? He asked. Shu Yuan's troops had fallen. The only one who remained was Shu Yuan. No, you aren't his match. I can't let you go to your death. We will just surrender. Are you mad? Said Xy Yuan in disgust, then he smuggled into the soft nest and slept. Shu Yuan thought he was getting ready for a fight. She was wrong. How could this lazy bum even fight with something like that? Ever since she had met him, she had only seen him active twice. That was when he was pretending to be her and using her money to bet and buy things online. The first time she had seen him fly, she had thought he would contribute to fight the barbarians. But he had flown into a corner and fallen asleep. The second was when he had impersonated her and bet on Zhongwei and bought the dark magic crystal. Shu Yuan was about to shout that she wanted to surrender when everyone exclaimed in the arena. Shu Yuan turned around. She saw that the golden behemoths had turned into dark gold behemoths. Their bodies were covered in pitch-black flames. There was a flash of blue flames and the three black gold behemoths fused together, becoming a monstrous entity. Black Gold Behemoth King, Shu Yuan cried out in alarm. As the Lord, she could see the name of the Black Gold Behemoth King. It was an entity which was formed by the fusion of multiple black gold behemoths. Roar! The black gold behemoth king roared, and a terrifying wave of air instantly extinguished the dragon's breath. What is that? The golden dragon's face was solemn. It wasn't that it couldn't defeat the black gold behemoth king, but the aura that entity radiated unsettled him. Boom! The black gold behemoth king swung his fist enshrouded in black and blue flames. The golden dragon wanted to fight back. However, when he was about to launch a counterattack, a shiver came from his soul's instinct. That was the pressure of a dragon clan's superior. It was an SS-class golden dragon, and only an SSS-class dragon king could defeat it. But where was the dragon king? Is it that guy? The golden dragon only noticed the existence of Shu Yuan at this moment. Dragon horns, dragon tail, dragon wings. The golden dragon realized that Shu Yuan was indeed a member of the dragon clan. Shu Yuan opened his eyes and met the gaze of the golden dragon. Shu Yuan was someone that the golden dragon could not afford to offend. The golden dragon was sure that the shiver it felt was because of Shu Yuan's aura. When did the dragon clan ever have someone this powerful? It's a dark type at that. The golden dragon seemed lost in thought. At this moment, the black gold behemoth king threw a punch and hit the golden dragon. But the golden dragon didn't resist. He let the black gold behemoth king punch him out of the arena ring. It wasn't that the golden dragon couldn't fight them, but that he didn't dare offend the dark type creature he had just seen. So, you are Lord Lufus. The golden dragon cried out softly the moment he fell off the arena. Are you willing to let me see your interface? Long Quan, the Long family's heir who had drawn a lot of attention during the selection contest, had lost. This information sparked a major commotion. Everyone acknowledged Shu Yuan's strength, but they were curious. How did a freshman get so strong that she could even defeat someone as strong as Long Quan? It must be that Long Quan liked Shu Yuan, so maybe he threw the fight to win her favor. Or maybe Shu Yuan bribed the patriarch of the Long family to have Long Quan give up the fight. Everyone discussed their own theories. Shu Yuan, one of the persons concerned, went back to her territory and rested briefly. After winning this match, Shu Yuan entered the top 10 and had already firmly won the chance to participate in the inter-campus tournament. The top 3 with the best results will be chosen from the 10 people to be the captain and vice-captain. Shu Yuan was explaining the process to Shu Yuan. She wasn't stupid. When she noticed the blue flames on the black gold behemoth king, she noticed that it was similar to the flame on Shu Yuan's tail. She figured that the two things were related. It was possible that maybe Shu Yuan wasn't physically strong for combat, but he had other abilities he could use. She guessed that the Skeleton Knights' transformations might also be related to Shu Yuan. But Shu Yuan didn't have any evidence. Shu Yuan discovered that the circumstances surrounding Shu Yuan had changed at this point. He could no longer hide his changes from her. Name: Shu Yuan. Demonic dragon's true name: Lufus Olga. Race: Dark Demon Dragon. Level: 25. Strength: 1210. Spirit: 1208. Agility: 1207. Constitution: 1210. Abilities: Night Shift LVL1. Dragon God Slumber LVL1. Lord of Darkness. Demon Dragon's Blessing. A small, black energy ball appeared behind Shu Yuan. The small black ball spun madly. Another small, black energy ball appeared behind him. Shu Yuan, you are so cool. Shu Yuan narrowed her eyes and stared at Shu Yuan. You look like you are the center of a blizzard. Your abilities might not be so simple, after all. Shu Yuan was trying to get Shu Yuan to spill his secrets. However, he wasn't paying attention to her. He was focused on his own panel. He had gained a special ability after the upgrade. Chaos Realm. Gather 12 elemental hearts and fuse them into a chaos core. Use the chaos core as support to release the chaos realm. Within the territory, all other elemental powers will be suppressed, and the skills of the territory's master would be greatly strengthened. Shu Yuan was pleasantly surprised. The demonic dragon's blessing and dark fusion would allow him to achieve this. He would be able to sleep peacefully to gain experience while sending out his underlings to do his bidding. Shu Yuan, however, continued to grow, and as a result, the foes she faced also grew more powerful. She would not have dared to continue fighting if the golden dragon hadn't recognized Shu Yuan and backed away. Even the black gold behemoth king might not be enough for the powerful enemies she would face in the future, and he would have to lose his sleep again. However, the conditions for enhancing his skills were too troublesome. He only got one skill enhancement point after every 10 levels. The alternative would be to devour another dark magic crystal. If the Chaos Realm could strengthen his other abilities, it would be for the best. Shu Yuan, Shu Yuan called him. Shu Yuan. Her voice interrupted his thoughts. She was peering closely at him. She blinked. Can you tell me about your abilities? Besides the 12 black balls behind his back, Shu Yuan could see no other changes. Shu Yuan decided to show her a part of his panel. It's too troublesome to describe. See for yourself. Shu Yuan hesitated. She was surprised. Are you willing to let me see your interface? She thought she was in a dream. A panel appeared before her eyes. Name, race, level, ... Abilities. Chaos Realm. Gather 12 elemental hearts and fuse them into a chaos core. Shu Yuan saw the problem. You have to gather 12 elemental hearts, until then your abilities will remain weak. Correct. It's useless for now. In reality, it wasn't completely useless. But it was wise for him to not reveal everything at once. Shu Yuan's demeanor changed. She had thought that Shu Yuan had some kind of powerful ability, but ultimately, it was futile. Shu Yuan wasn't willing to give up. She thought that her talent was outstanding, and so, her hero might not be someone without power of his own. If she could help him gather the 12 elemental hearts, Shu Yuan could grow into someone stronger. Where do we find the elemental hearts? Shu Yuan shook his head gloomily. He didn't know what the elemental hearts were and where they could be found. He passed by the territory core and his abilities pinged. He stared at the territory core. Shu Yuan saw him staring at the territory core. She panicked and pulled him away. Shu Yuan, calm down. Clear your head for now. That is the territory core. Shu Yuan calmed himself, but he realized that the elemental hearts were related to the territory core. His knowledge was limited, so he explained this to Shu Yuan, hoping she could find something out. Shu Yuan contacted her friend Lin Yao, who was very knowledgeable. Lin Yao. A long time ago, the territory core was called the elemental heart. According to the Lord and the hero's attribute, the territory core was considered the heart of them both. Lin Yao explained everything, including some ancient rumors related to the elemental hearts. Shu Yuan couldn't bear to listen anymore. She told Shu Yuan about her findings. So, it seems the elemental heart is the territory core. I think we will have a lot of opportunities to encounter the territory cores of other overlords participating in the inter-campus tournament. Shu Yuan's eyes lit up at her words. He hadn't been interested in the inter-campus tournament because it hadn't meant anything to him. However, if he could encounter the territory cores of other lords and collect the elemental hearts, he was very eager to be in this inter-campus tournament. You fraud. Don't you betray me again. The following day drew near. Shu Yuan welcomed the commencement speech of the qualifiers after a full day of rest. In the Stars Academy public square, a teacher was giving the speech on a stage. Here, I'll recap the rules of the preliminary round, which are also the rules of the inter-campus tournament. Although the old students are already familiar with the competition's rules, they are still unknown to the new students. Seniors, just treat this as a reminder. However, juniors, I want you to listen very carefully. There were many students gathered in the square. The teacher's explanation led to a progressive understanding of the competition's regulations. The rules of the preliminary round were different from the elimination round. In the preliminary round, the students would enter the school's simulated arena. This arena is different from what you have encountered before. It will be a wide simulated field with mountains and rivers. In the simulated arena, the 10 lords will be divided into different areas. You will be given your own territory and a territory core. Different degrees of points will be awarded for destroying other overlords' territories and territory cores. After a day, the points will be tallied, and the candidates will be ranked accordingly. The lord will be eliminated from the contest once their territory core is destroyed. Therefore, all lords should make every effort to defend territory core while engaging with the enemy. The teachers and students were both talking and chit-chatting in the public square. One of the teachers said, I'm certain the top 3 of this competition will be Chen Yi, Mu Qing, and Wei Wenxi. Another teacher had a different opinion. Wei Wenxi's strength is barely adequate. If it wasn't for the problem with Long Quan, I'm afraid Wei Wenxi wouldn't have made it to the top 10. Chen Yi still has some value. The SS class hero, Blood Dominator, is not any less than the Golden Dragon of Long Quan. The teachers were having a heated discussion. Naturally and swiftly, the conversation turned to Shu Yuan, who is currently receiving attention for her good performance in the past few days. It's a shame for Shu Yuan. Although she won against Long Quan, I still felt that something was wrong with that fight at the last moment. The Golden Dragon couldn't fall that easily. The dean interrupted. Shu Yuan's performance has been more than satisfactory. At her pace, even the Golden Dragon isn't a match for her. Chen Yi's SS class hero, the Blood Dominator, is not inferior to the Golden Dragon. If Shu Yuan doesn't have any other cards up her sleeve, it would be immensely difficult for her to make it to the top 3, let alone the first place. Some of the students were also discussing the current state of affairs in the public square. Shu Yuan has a lot of potential, but her time given to her to prepare has been far too limited. If she was given more time, she would definitely increase the number of Golden Behemoth soldiers. She might have had the chance of making it to first rank. One of the students nodded in agreement. The inter-campus tournament isn't something that new students should be participating in. Shu Yuan's ability to break into the top 10 as a freshman is already exceptional. Lin Yao, with an SS class hero, was also eliminated in the first round. She didn't have time to build up her troops. Qualifiers, begin. All participants, please enter the simulation arena. Shu Yuan, who was on the square with her friends, transformed into a white light, vanished, and entered the simulation arena. At the same time, Shu Yuan and others also disappeared into white light and re-emerged into the simulated arena. This place has some decent terrain. Simple to protect, challenging to attack. Shu Yuan studied the topography of the area. There was only one exit from the valley she was now in, which was encircled by mountains. It would be challenging for the enemy's army to attack as long as the path was guarded. Shu Yuan mentally considered her next course of action. However, at this moment, she realized that Shu Yuan had other ideas. He was staring at the territory core of her territory. Shu Yuan panicked. Shu Yuan, you fraud, don't you betray me again. The territory core of this place wasn't the real core. It was just a simulation. In any case, this territory core was still theirs to protect. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows. You should be eyeing other overlords' territory cores, anyway, insisted Shu Yuan. She had been tricked by Shu Yuan so many times before that she was suspicious. If he went crazy and attacked their own territory core, she would be eliminated. Shu Yuan yawned. What are you even saying? Do you honestly think I would do that? He rolled his eyes at her and lay on the ground to sleep. The most crucial thing in the entire world for him was to sleep. Shu Yuan likewise heaved a sigh of relief when she realized that he just wanted to sleep peacefully. Shu Yuan consequently drew a few soldiers with a higher IQ to discuss strategy. According to the past competition results, the gap between third and fourth place among the 10 competitors was the largest. I think the final 6 of us should band together to combat the top 3. Shu Yuan explained, but it was a pity that the intelligence of the Golden Behemoths, Dark Goblins, and other troops in front of her was not very high. Shu Yuan missed human soldiers at this moment. If there were human troops, she could discuss strategies with them. The only other alternative was Shu Yuan. But Shu Yuan. Shu Yuan sighed and shook her head as she regarded the sleeping wish. She ultimately made a choice. Let me examine the map first. The Academy had very kindly provided them with a complete map for the present competition that showed the movements of each lord in real time on the map. If it was in the inter-campus tournament, the lords could only see their location and not anybody else's. But this one showed everyone. Nearby, there are 3 lords who are all in the bottom 6. We can rope them in. Shu Yuan dispatched 3 skeleton knights right away and allowed them to approach the 3 lords. She intended to form a partnership. The top 3 would have their pride and would only ever fight for themselves. If a few of us join forces and defeat the top 3, we will have a chance. Shu Yuan drafted the letter and handed it over to the skeleton knight to give to the lords. Near Shu Yuan's territory. Shu Yuan wants to join forces with us to defeat the top 3. After some thought, one of the lords got in touch with the other 2 lords. The other 2 lords gathered shortly after. This Shu Yuan. What a laughable proposal. If she hadn't used some heinous technique to eliminate Long Quan, we might have considered it. She is now on our hit list because she used horrible tactics to get rid of Long Quan. The three lords had all been trained by the Long family, so their loyalty was with the Long family, and ultimately with Long Quan. They couldn't believe that Shu Yuan had defeated Long Quan. If she had, she must have used some heinous tactic. Why don't we agree to her alliance and then stab her in the back when she's feeling hopeful and confident and make her feel dejected? The idea is brilliant. If Long Quan knew about this, he would have definitely praised us. And I watched the three lords in calm conversation. The cooking skill of Shu Yuan. Shu Yuan moved around while she waited for the lord's response. Shu Yuan opened his eyes. The eye on his chest also opened a crack. True eye of the demon dragon has such a wonderful use. Shu Yuan's plan, in his opinion, was a touch clumsy. She knew nothing about the lords, so why did she think they would support her? Furthermore, the alliance would disintegrate on its own after it was established and the other lords were vanquished, and everyone would battle for supremacy. Everyone in the alliance would undoubtedly be hiding their abilities and making no effort during this time. They would hold off on disclosing their secret weapons until the final battle for first place. Therefore, Shu Yuan had tried to use his ability, True Eye of the Demon Dragon, to look around other lords' territories. He found out that the True Eye of the Demon could see through illusions and time itself. It could even help him see the surrounding places through the dark shadows. It was just like the ability of the Demon Dragon Wings, which allowed Shu Yuan to travel from one dark shadow to another. The True Eye of the Demon Dragon was similar. As long as there were dark shadows within a certain range, Shu Yuan could use the ability and see and hear everything in that area. I knew this overlord wasn't reliable. Shu Yuan lazily stretched on the ground and fell asleep. Shu Yuan usually thought Shu Yuan was unreliable, but she didn't know that he thought she was unreliable. The three lords eventually sent their messengers with a reply. Shu Yuan was still organizing. Her desire was to catch a distant glimpse of the three-headed bird flying over as a messenger. Swish! The three-headed bird shrieked, but before it could deliver the message, a loud buzz woke up Shu Yuan. Shu Yuan activated the demon dragon wings and appeared beside the three-headed bird in the sky from a dark shadow. Hey, what are you doing? Shu Yuan grabbed the three-headed bird by the neck. Let me go. I am only here to deliver the messages from the lords. They are ready to form an alliance. The three-headed bird flapped its wings desperately. However, no matter how the three-headed bird struggled, it could not break free from the dragon's claws. You are noisy. You are disturbing my sleep. Shu Yuan was in a bad mood. The three-headed bird became agitated when it looked into Shu Yuan's eyes. He sensed that something terrible was about to occur. It had good instincts. After some time had passed, the skeleton knights informed Shu Yuan about the three-headed bird's arrival with the intention to forge an alliance. Shu Yuan put her strategies on hold, immediately put down the plan in her hand. She had high self-esteem and high ambitions for the future. It's their messenger, right? Shu Yuan was delighted that they were willing to form an alliance. If they weren't interested, they wouldn't have sent a messenger in the first place. Shu Yuan sprang up and headed for the valley's entrance. At this time, Shu Yuan smelled barbecue. Hey, Shu Yuan, aren't you sleeping? This is the first time I have seen you awake and doing something else. Shu Yuan was roasting something on the fire rack. For Shu Yuan, who had only ever seen Shu Yuan sleeping, this was a miracle. Shu Yuan was actually roasting and cooking. Lazy Shu, have you finally overcome your laziness? Shu Yuan guessed that these changes in Shu Yuan were a result of his recent evolution. He grew dragon wings, and then the dragon horns. Then, the 12 balls of energy appeared behind him. Shu Yuan was gradually evolving and even his laziness was diminishing. What are you roasting? Can I try one? Shu Yuan grabbed the roasted leg from the rack. Hee, this leg is mine. You always trick me. This time I am going to snatch the juicy roasted leg right from your hands and eat it. Shu Yuan was very generous today. He didn't get annoyed at her but just picked up another roasted leg to eat. Shu Yuan had expected him to get angry at it, but he was indifferent. She was a little disappointed. But she brushed it away, picked up a roasted leg and bit a piece of meat from the roasted leg. Oh, this tastes excellent. Your cooking skills are amazing, fraud Shu. Shu Yuan took another bite. No, when I think about it, your cooking skills are subpar. I think the meat itself is delicious, it tastes divine. Shu Yuan was about to ask him about the origin of the meat. Shu Yuan smiled as he chewed on another roasted leg. This is the meat of that three-headed bird I found. Oh, it is indeed very delicious. Su Wan's face froze when she realized what he had said. Wait, what? The three-headed bird? Su Wan remembered the letter her skeleton knight messenger had brought back. The three lords had written that they would discuss the matter and send her a messenger soon to plan out the details. The messenger was a bird with 3 heads. Shu Yuan, did the bird say anything about forming an alliance with us? Su Wan's voice trembled. Shu Yuan was full now. He yawned. Alliance. I was asleep and the bird disturbed me. He smacked his lips as he ate. Su Wan's face turned pale. She couldn't rely on Shu Yuan's words, so she called the golden behemoth to ask him. The information she got confirmed her suspicions. The three-headed bird had disturbed Shu Yuan's sleep, so he had killed it and roasted it. Shu Yuan. Su Wan roared at him. Her face was red in anger. It had not been easy for her to contact the three lords and suggest forming an alliance. But in the end, Shu Yuan had tricked her again. Shu Yuan had gotten used to her roars. She burped and went back to sleep. Oh, the three-headed bird opened its eyes and awoke in its own territory. It was confused. Did I die? It realized that it had indeed been killed and the overlords had used their resources to resurrect it. The lord asked angrily, Number 77, how did you die? Number 77 of the three-headed bird army turned its head around and told its lord about Shu Yuan in tears. What? How dare they eat the messenger I sent? What kind of attitude is this? Is Su Wan mad? First, she says she wants to form an alliance and then this. Does she really want an alliance or not? The other two lords gave it some thought. One of them said, is there a possibility that she found out about our plan to pretend to form an alliance? Maybe that's why she had our messenger killed. The three lords discussed it for a while. The more they thought about it, the more likely they felt this to be true. Why don't we all go and eliminate her first? The three lords discussed in secret and made their final decision. Poor Wanwan and her cheating hero. We're finished. The three lords have challenged me. Su Wan was anxious. Shu Yuan, the perpetrator, was sleeping soundly again. Shu Yuan, wake up. You are the one who caused this. Wake up. Su Wan shook the Shu Yuan awake. She didn't expect him to have any solutions, but she didn't want to let him sleep peacefully seeing how he had caused all of this. Su Wan was furious. She didn't have a good life, but with Shu Yuan by her side, her life was bound to get worse. At the very least, she didn't want to let him sleep peacefully. She shook him awake. Congratulations to the hero for gaining experience in the depth of darkness. The voice rang pleasant and clear in Shu Yuan's mind. But the beautiful voice was interrupted by Su Wan. What are you doing? I am absorbing experience right now. Shu Yuan flapped his wings and flew away from Su Wan into a tree and continued sleeping. Su Wan couldn't reach the top of the tree. Detestable. Su Wan kicked the tree. Ow, ow, it hurts. She grabbed her toes. When she realized what he had said, her angry face relaxed and was replaced by surprise. Experience, she muttered. Su Wan raised her head and looked at Shu Yuan who was sleeping soundly. Absorbing experience points. This lazy bum was clearly sleeping, Su Wan muttered. HMPH. I knew this B** starred wasn't as simple as he looked. Su Wan felt that she was a little closer to understanding her mysterious initial hero, Shu Yuan. How can my hero ever be simple? Su Wan felt better. But before she could feel the joy of discovering this, she got the news that the three lords had sent their allied armies to fight her. Skeleton Knights, block the front. Hellhounds, defend the back. Dark Goblins, set up a trap. Golden Behemoths, go move the rocks to block the passage. Su Wan commanded them one by one. Su Wan was currently in a valley that was encircled by mountains and had only one passage as entrance. As long as Su Wan blocked the only passage, they could guard it. It's a game now. They can't waste time on me. They'll give up if they can't take me down in a short time. When they are engaged in attacking me, their territories will be defenseless to the other lords. Su Wan, who had calmed down, issued all kinds of orders very decisively. At that moment, people were watching everything in the Star Academy public square. Student Su Wan is worthy of being valued by the dean. Even while being attacked by the other lords, she faces them so calmly. If it were any other new student, I'm afraid they would have already lost their composure. In the public square, a huge screen was showing the situation in the simulated arena. Shu Yuan had captured the three-headed, which had arrived to deliver the news of the alliance. Everyone felt that there was injustice against Shu Yuan. Shu Yuan is really exceptional. She can still instruct her troops and make plans despite being the target of 3 seniors. A bespectacled male student complimented her. Another male student clenched his fists. He stared at the sleeping Shu Yuan on the screen with contempt. It's all because of that B** starred. It's him who framed Shu Yuan. If it wasn't for that hero, Shu Yuan should have already joined forces with other lords and defeated the strongest contestants one by one, setting a new record for the academy. The students were all in a serious discussion. The majority of responses were criticisms of Shu Yuan's initial hero. Everyone believed that Shu Yuan was duped by her own hero and put in this predicament. Shu Yuan's 3 best friends were no exception. They talked about the issue as well. Poor Wan. How did she meet such a cheating hero? She is in big trouble now. Shi Linglong was worried about Shu Yuan. Zhao Qingrong nodded in agreement. No matter how one looked at it, Shu Yuan's performance this time was excellent. She had calmly observed her surroundings and made strategic arrangements. She had made plans to work with other lords to deal with the stronger lords. After being tricked by her hero and being put into this situation, she still had calmly deployed her troops to defend the passageway. Even as a new student, she had done very well. Lin Yao was staring intently at the screen but didn't give an opinion. Yao, don't you think Wan's hero is infuriating? Shi Linglong grabbed Lin Yao's arm and gently shook it. Lin Yao didn't answer for a long time. She gently shook her head and said, let's look at the situation very carefully first. Wan's hero isn't that simple. Maybe he had his reason for doing that. On the screen, because of the war, only the most exciting scenes were shown. The armies of the 3 lords had already arrived outside the valley. The skeleton knights blocked the path at the narrow entrance. However, the 3 overlords had a large number of troops. Human knights, dwarven musketeers, half-elf archers. The 3 lords were all seniors to Shu Yuan, so they had plenty of time to develop their troops and build their foundation. Shu Yuan couldn't compare to them in terms of numbers of troops or the type of soldiers. Furthermore, the 3 overlords were working together. The skeleton knights on the front lines perished one after another as a result of the barbarians' gunfire. The traps that the dark goblin had placed could not buy much time. Boom. Under Shu Yuan's command, the golden behemoths threw large boulders one after the other to block the entrance. I hope that I can buy some time. While stalling for time, Shu Yuan consumed the resources given at the start of the competition to resurrect the skeleton knights and the hellhounds. But at this moment, the valley started to shake. The roar echoed throughout the valley. That's the Earth Dragon Cavalry. Shu Yuan was in despair. The Earth Dragon Cavalry charged forward one after another, knocking away the rocks blocking the entrance of the passageway. The front line has fallen. Shu Yuan's palms were sweaty. This is the end. Will there be a miracle? Shu Yuan subconsciously glanced at the snoring Shu Yuan. She hadn't lost yet. She wished for the black gold behemoths to appear or even just the black skeleton knights. But nothing happened. There was no black mist this time. However, the skeleton knights did resurrect. She had not used any resources to revive them and yet the dead skeleton knights were resurrected automatically.